Welcome everybody and welcome to another lesson for Adobe XD for UI UX. And for this lesson, we will see how you can add and design text in Adobe XD. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, as you can see over here, I opened up a new document. I renamed it How to Add and Design Text as per our lesson. And I created a 1920 by 1080 like desktop size, and then made it into portrait. But before that, let me go ahead and rename our artboard over here, or our frame over here. Let's say frame 1. Let me just go with that. Now we have frame 1 over here, but we want to go ahead use the text tool. So you can go ahead and use the text tool from here. And then I'm going to type in, let's say, Adobe XD. All in capital. Then I'm going to use the selection tool and select this. As you can see, I can scale it up like this. So I can go ahead, scale it like up like this, and I can move it around like this as well. So as you can see, there are no other options using the selection tool. What I can do is only scale it up and rotate it like this. And again, with the rotation, I can hold down shift to rotate it at a 15-degree angle. So as you can see, there is a transform option over here. If I were to scale it down, it will also scale that one down as well. And it's uniformly locked. So let me just put this scale ratio over here to 1000. But as you can see, I cannot change it. Now I have the layout over here, responsive resize to auto. If I were to give in manual, I can have a fixed height and a fixed width as well. But I just want to keep it manual, the layout. And on the right side here, you can see the alignment tools, as you can see over here. So I'm going to align it at the middle over here so that we can have access to everything and we can also view it perfectly as well. And I'm going to give the view over here to 100% so that we focus on this one. So now once I select this text over here, I can go ahead, change the text to whatever I want over here. As you can see, these are all the texts that you see over here. All the text that you have, you can find it over here. Now, I have also the Instagram font downloaded, so let me just show you how it is. Now, if you were to select the selection tool and double click on your text, you will be able to edit your text from wherever you want. So I'm going to type in capital I, then all small caps, Instagram, and you will have this Instagram logo type text, as you can see. Now, here you have the text font, so you can download any text font from any website on your device, and that will also be updated here as well. So I have downloaded Instagram from here, and so I can go ahead and do that. I can resize it from over here, so let's give it 150, so it will resize our text accordingly. Then you have the regular here, so according to your font, you'll have bold, you'll have other stuff. So let me go for this, not this one. Let me go for, let's say, Gigi over here. As you can see, it's different as well. Let me go for Game of Squids. As you can see, this is different also. Let me go for this one as well. As you can see, this is also normal. Freestyle script is also normal. Let's go for something very, very like normal. So this one as well. Let's go for Arial. As you can see, Arial, there you go. This is the standard for any kind of document, any kind of text online. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and under here you have the regular, you have the narrow. As you can see, it narrowed down your letters. Then you have italic. It will make your fonts italic style. You have narrow italic as well. You have bold, you have narrow bold. You have bold italic as well. You have narrow bold italic as well. You have and you have black, which is basically like a bigger version of like bold. I'm going to recenter it again. There you go. Then you have other options over here. You can all make it all capitals, as you can see over here. If you want, you can make it all small. You can make it the font capital only. You can make everything like to the uppercase power. So if I were to, let's say, select this and select this, it will make everything uppercase like you see in mathematics, right? So you can also lowercase it like that. You can also make everything like underlined like this as well. And then you can also make a middle cross section like that as well. Then you have the blend mode over here where you can like change the blend mode. You can have a fill color to it. So let me give like a black fill color. There you go. Let me change the border color to, let's say, yellow, bright yellow. Now you have RGB here. You have HSB here as well. And in the plus section over here, you can add in like presets of colors. Now, if I were to give the border on like this, as you can see, it's not that much visible. Let me go for something cyan. That is not visible as well. Let me go for red. And as you can see, that's somewhat visible. I can change the size of it to, let's say, 10. There you go. Now that's much more visible, but 10 is too much. Let me go with 3. Yeah, that looks okay. So that way you can also give like a stroke, a border to it as well. You can also have it like rounded border. You can also have it like a protecting cap. You can also have like rounded corners. So if I were to zoom in over here, you can see the difference. And you have the bevel corners as well, as you can see. So those are some ways you can add in those variations of designs or effects. And you have other effects here as well. You have inner shadows. So as you can see, if I were to like, let's say give it white color, there you go. The inner shadows, then you have the color over here. So I have it like very transparent. If I were to increase the transparency like this, you can see the inner shadow right now, as you can see. If I were to increase the Y value to 10 over here, as you can see, it increased that Y value to 10. And you have the blur amount as well. This is the Y position. This is the X position. So let me give it like 2 or 3. Also give this 3. It changed the direction of the shadow. And let me change it to, let's say, something of yellow over here. Give it like a highlight. So you can give an inner shadow like that. You can also give in like a drop shadow. So if I were to increase, let's say the blur amount to, let's say, 1 over here, as you can see, you have the drop shadow like that. Now let me increase our value of transparency to this one. Let me give the like Y value a little bit more. Let me give it 10. There you go. Let me give also the X for 10. There you go. Now you have a very good, wonderful drop shadow, as you can see over here. Then you have background blur as well. This like you can add the background blur to make everything in the background blurry. So what I mean is, let me try to make a circle over here. There you go. Change the color of the circle to, let's say, green. And go to view over here, go to layers. As you can see, we already have the layers. So let me click on this. We have the Instagram and the eclipse here. Let me change the eclipse in the background. Now, as you can see, the background gets blurred. The effect for Instagram, it is blurring out that. So let me increase it like from here to here. It gives a cool like neon effect or anything like that. Now, as you can see, it's giving that blur. So now let me click on Instagram. Go to the blur amount over here. Let me decrease the blur amount to like that. And now, as you can see, when like the blur amount here is changing, right? So let me give it like 1, as 1 is perfect. Now you can also change the brightness for it as well, the blur brightness. Let me just keep it like a low brightness so that Instagram is shown over here. Now it's at -50. So if I were to put it at 0, it will be neutral. Okay. And mark as export, I already explained before. So there you go. That's the basic tools and utilities for some text over here. You have the insert URL here. So any kind of custom text that you can add. You can insert the URL here so that it can also like show it from like taking from that URL. Now let's go with some designing part for our text over here. So let me go ahead and select everything. Let me delete it. Let me just put another text, and let me put an Adobe XD. Now this is in this text because we already have edited our text on how it looks like, right? Arial black. So let me go for like regular Arial over here, and let me remove the border. Let me just change the fill to like, the fill is okay. We do not need to like change the fill that much. Let's just keep it at black. Now, repeat grid is basically grouping everything up together. As you say, ungroup grid. So let's go ahead and ungroup that because we do not have anything else. Now, we have the blend mode over here we can use. We can also use other things as well. So you go drop shadows as well to create like unique effects on drop shadows. So you can right click on this and you can make this a component. So as you can see, this is a component now, but we will work on components later on. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo it. Now you can go ahead, you can copy the SVG code, but we do not need that. You can add color to assets as well, but let me go to right click, then add character style to assets as well. Then if I were to go over here, as you can see, there's no change whatsoever. So you also have the center align middle as well over here. As you can see, you also have auto width, you also have auto height, you also have fixed size. So you can also change that accordingly as well. Now, if I were to right click, as you can see, align to pixel grid, you can make it a component. You can lock it, delete it, paste it, copy it, cut it, however you want. So you can also right click on here and do the same things as mentioned before. You can also disable the view for it. You can also log the layer from here as well. You can also mark for export from here as well. Now, let's say you want to add in an effect of a reflection from below. Okay, so what you can do is, let's say I copy this. Okay, I copy this, like we're holding on Alt, I copy this, and then I just basically press enter to copy that. Or then I'm going to go ahead, move this, and by holding shift and paste this right over here, so that is directly below this one. Now once that is done, I'm going to select the bottom part and I'm going to change it like this. Now once that is done, you can go ahead and use the rectangle tool over here. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool to create a rectangle like this, which basically covers our text over here. Okay, so once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and put it at half size over here, then go ahead and give a background blur. Good, there you go. Now I will change the amount to a few lesser. Now the brightness, few lesser, there you go. And the amount to, let's say, 1. But that still doesn't fix it, does it? As you can see, let me just put it at 10, for example. As you can see, it's still not working because we have the brightness to less, the opacity to 0%, right? So let me change the opacity to, let's say, 100%. Now, if I were to zoom out, as you can see, it's still not working. Because we have selected the background blur over here and nothing's working. So you can change the amount as you can like. As you can see, nothing's working over here. So I'm just going to cross that. I'm just going to re-enable it. And as you can see, nothing's working again. What I'm going to do, I'm going to select this. We have the fill color over here. So the opacity over to 20%. I can give it like 100% and give the no fill color to it. Give no border to it as well. So as you can see, it's still not working. So I'm going to go ahead and select the rectangle, delete it, and create another rectangle. And make it so that it's like this, and give it a background blur like this. There you go. Select the rectangle over here. We have 30, we have brightness at 15. So I'm going to reduce it to 15. It doesn't look good. 10, it doesn't look good. How about 5? It's 5 look good. And I'm going to select this rectangle and select this text and press Ctrl G. So as you can see, this grouped up together. So I'm going to rename it reflection. There you go. Then I'm going to select this with the Adobe XD and then group this together. Now, if I were to double click on this or click on the folder icon here, you can see that I grouped them and ungrouped them. I can also do it like this. That way I can manage the layers like this as well. So now I have a basic. Let me go ahead first to select this rectangle and remove the border and the fill. But if I were to remove the fill, as you can see, nothing will happen. Now this is like a reflection to it, but it's kind of different, right? So I'm going to select this Adobe XD over here. There you go. And as you can see, I can only scale it up and scale it down, right? So I cannot like change it however I want. So I can go ahead and select this box if I want to. I can go ahead, descale it like this, increase the scale like this, but nothing will happen, okay? Because that's not an object, it is a text. So you cannot change how it looks like. But if I were to make it into a component, now I can change it however I want, as you can see. So if I were to, on the right side over here, you have different options, as you can see, fill, border. If I were to change the fill to it, as you can see, the border, the opacity for it, and then you have padding, you have stacking as well, vertical stacking as well, but we are going to go ahead and come to that part later on. So I'm going to undo it to back to where it is as a text, because you normally need to make it into a component in order for you to go ahead and, let's say, create something which is more related to animation or animating, that is. But as you can see, our rectangle over here, we have no blur effects right now because sometimes the blur effect is still there. If I were to select on preview here or the play button over here, as you can see, we still do not have the blur options over here. It sometimes gets like this. So I need to select the fill over here and the border, like get the border over here. I had no fill over here. That's why nothing was working for that one. So you can give like a effect like this. Now, let's say you want this to disappear as it's going. Now, there are several other ways you can do that. You can go to fill over here and you can basically give it a gradient color or gradient way. So I will show you how you can do those like in a different lesson. So that's one way of designing your text. There are also other ways as well where you can just add in transparencies as well. You can mask them as well. But I will teach you those techniques in another lesson. Those are a bit more complex than like basic lessons like this. So those are some very basic tools and uses for like the text, but you do not need like the reflection effect that much, because in UI UX you will find very few websites all around the web, like very few, like comparing to the entire whole internet, how many websites there are. So comparing, it's like a 9:1 ratio, where in the 1 ratio you will find websites where they use text effects like reflections. So it's kind of like a small niche for an effect. So that will be all for this lesson, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. So thank you and goodbye.